Well, we've reached the mid-season point of the NHL so far, and there's a lot to talk about. First, how are the Bolts looking compared to everyone else so far? What are some of the biggest surprises of the NHL as a whole? And what are some of the most impressive NHL stats and achievements that have happened so far this season? We're going to talk about all of them here on Locked On Lightning.
You're Locked On Lightning, your daily podcast on the Tampa Bay Lightning, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Lightning. Today is a special episode, last one of 2025, where we have reached the mid-season point of the NHL, and there's so much to discuss already. And again, we're only about 40 games through, but so much has gone on for not just the Lightning, but the entire league. And I want to dive into all those things, some of the things that impress me the most, some of the stats I find just absolutely astonishing, and some surprises that we've seen so far this season. And we'll dive into all of that. But first, I wanted to shout out to all of our everydayers. Thank you for so much for sticking with us, listening to us, supporting us, chatting with us. We love all of you, and we can't thank you enough for your support. And we couldn't do this without you. So that being said, let's get right into it. How are the Bolts looking so far this season? I think they're looking pretty hot, and I'll explain why. But before I get into it, I was gifted this beautiful Stadium Series jersey by someone I deeply care about, and wow, they are fantastic. I absolutely love them, more than I really thought I would, and just high quality, looks nice, colors are great, and I got a Vasi, just so everyone can see. Little Vasilevsky action. Excited for the Stadium Series. That being said, how are the Bolts doing? I think they're doing fantastic. Right now, the Bolts are sitting at 8th in the league with 47 points. This is prior to the Ducks game that is happening today. Sitting at 3rd in the Atlantic. The Atlantic is tight. It's very, very tight. There's no team in the Atlantic right now that has less than 41 points. And I think that's pretty incredible. I mean, this is such a tight race in this division, and it's going to create for an exciting ending. And I mean, just how close it is midway, right? With all these teams, they're all competitive, and it's exciting. I mean, I'm constantly looking at the standings because they're just shifting, right? Like, it doesn't end. One thing that's about the Bolts, though, is in the division, they are the only team with a differential of greater than 2. And that might seem like, oh, okay, whatever, but their differential is 25, plus 25. So substantially better than other teams in the differential category, which I view as a huge, huge accomplishment. Great sign for the team because, look, you're letting in far fewer goals than you're scoring. And that's exactly what you need to win hockey games. Sounds silly, but look, to be the team that's in the Atlantic that's 23 ahead of second place, which I believe is the Florida Panthers with +2, an incredible accomplishment. And I think that bodes well for the Lightning moving forward. Not only that, but right now they're on another win streak. 4 games, again, prior to this Ducks game, which could be the 5th, they are on a 4-game win streak, and nothing to scoff at, especially with what we know the Lightning have been dealing with as far as roster / injuries / all the stuff going on, right? Just a tremendous accomplishment. I think the Bolts are in a fantastic place given what they have been working with for these first 40 games. Let's dive into some of the players, though. Kucherov. We know who he is. We know what he does. He's up to 49 points in 34 games played. And let me just throw something else at you. I know a lot of people hate the plus minus, but my guy is plus 12 right now. And earlier this season, I think about 20 games in, he was minus 10. So to be plus 12 now, he's really turned his game around. He's been a lot smarter with the puck. He looks a lot sharper, and he looks like the Cooch that we are used to seeing. He's doing great. Next up, Gensel, 39 points in 38 games, point per game player. Guy seems to show up in every single game, whether he's on the score sheet or he's not. He's on the score sheet most of the time, let's be real. But when he's not, he still makes his presence known. And he is felt in every game. I think Gensel has been one of the best Bolts thus far. Moving on, Hagel, 31 points in 33 games after a very difficult start for him. Again, he only had 1 assist in his first 7 games. So to have, 31 points now in 33 games, which is what realistically 30 points in 26 games, he's on fire. I mean, he's been cooking lately. He looks like himself from last season. And then we got Braden Point, who again, we've talked a lot about on this show. He started off pretty slowly this year, probably one of his worst seasons, if not his worst season to start through these first few. But look, he's picking up pace lately. He's been on fire. He's looked like himself after returning from injury, and he has 21 points now in 31 games. Again, after a very difficult start for him, he's pretty much back in my eyes. So to have Hagel and Gensel back and cooking again, huge for the Lightning. Now let's just mention some serious defensive stuff here. I mean, JJ Moser plus 25, just locking it down back there. I mean, he's a unit. He's really like the defensive guy for this team. And I think he has just been absolutely incredible. Not a guy you see on the score sheet a ton, but it's irrelevant because what he does is he shuts everyone else down on the opposing team, and he does it every night. He does it effectively. He rarely makes mistakes. And when he does, they really don't cost this team much at all because he's ready to clean it up. And he's done a great job. I think JJ Moser deserves a tremendous round of applause, especially with, this defense has been banged up, and we have beat that to death on this show. And I know that, but look, JJ Moser, man, he's been absolutely incredible. And look, the roster too has been so diverse with all the injuries and all the issues they've been dealing with. I mean, they just keep going and they just slot guys in wherever they need to go. I mean, look, we've seen so many new faces this season, right? I mean, and not even necessarily new, but guys, who are probably really not going to be on the starting roster, right? Or guys you don't think are going to see more than a few games. I mean, we've seen Santini play 9 games at this point. Groshev just played his first and he picked up an assist. I mean, Curtis Douglas has been around and look, we know he's more of a fighter physical guy, but he still made his presence known many times. We've seen Declan Carlisle. He has a goal and 2 assists in 17. Scott Sabrin, a goal and 2 assists in 9 games. Finley, 2 goals and an assist in 13 games. And he's had 2 excellent breakaway goals. I call him the breakaway guy because that's kind of what he's been doing. And not only that, we get some surprises, right? I mean, how about Dastu? I mean, no one really saw him coming in and playing a significant role on this team, I don't think. I would say no one. And look, he's got 3 goals and 9 assists in 31 games, and he's been excellent on defense. Just a great presence in the back there. And again, with all the injuries, for a guy like him to just kind of slot in and fill a serious role, absolutely amazing. Then we see guys, Dominic James, 2 goals and 5 assists. Gage has been a lot better lately. He again was one of the guys that kind of started slowly, but he's looked sharp. We acquired Holmberg this season with 6 goals, 6 assists, and 31. He's looked pretty solid as well. And when he's not on the score sheet, he's another guy. You see him. He's a forechecker. He's a grinder. He's out there, man. And he's putting in work. And how about Darren Radish? I'm going to call him the number 1 D on the Tampa Bay Lightning. 27 points in 32 games played. 19 assists, 8 goals. He's +7. And Nick and I have talked a ton about how they really used him offensively more than anything for the most part thus far in his career. But these past few, oh man, and by few, I mean the last month, guy has been on fire. Oh man. And at the beginning of the season, he looked like a guy who probably wasn't going to stay on the roster very long. And now all of a sudden, he's like the main guy. And with Hedman, dealing with injuries, he's really had to step up, and he has done that so effectively. And it's impressive. I mean, this guy is just on fire. And every week, and I said this on another show, I think, okay, this is where he's going to kind of revert, not to being not good, but just, he's not going to hit the score sheet every day. But look, he's still just grinding, hitting the score sheet, making plays. Like, he's been excellent on the power play. I think he looks so good up at that point spot. They got to leave him there, man. I think even when Hedman comes back, you leave him there. Don't mess with this. I mean, this guy, he's feeling it. And I don't think you mess with anything that's feeling it. Just leave it as it is. And I think you leave Radish where he's at. I mean, he's popping off. Just so impressive, man. And he's not even a young guy, That's another thing that I think people overlook. It's not like this guy has not been around. I mean, he's been around. He's 29 years old. I mean, it's not like he's old, but he ain't new. So he just found his stride, found his groove, and he's popping off, like I said. So unbelievable. But he's not the only surprise. I mean, there have been a lot of surprises this season. So let's dive into some of the surprises we've seen around the NHL when we come back. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Fridays already feel different during basketball season, and FanDuel makes them even better. Every Friday night before the games tip off, FanDuel gives fans a new way to kick off the weekend with NBA Happy Hour. NBA Happy Hour is like your official pregame. It's a limited time window where special offers drop right inside the FanDuel app before the action actually starts. Fridays from 6 to 7:30 Eastern have become appointment viewing with the NBA Happy Hour. Opening the FanDuel app during Happy Hour always brings something new. It could be boosts or bonuses and other surprises. It's easy to check the weekly special before tip-off and make a move before the window closes. The timing is perfect right before the games, right before the weekend starts. It adds extra energy to Friday night basketball without, overthinking it. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app, see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Welcome back to Locked On Lightning. Oh, man. We just dived into all the Bolts season, midway season accomplishments and impressions, but what about the rest of the NHL? Let me dive into some of the things that I think are the biggest surprises of the NHL so far. Number one on my list, Quinn Hughes being traded to the Minnesota Wild. That's wild. I mean, I think everyone kind of thought that Quinn Hughes was going to go play with his brothers in New Jersey. And I'm not saying that can't happen still. But ever since Quinn has moved over to the Wild have been cooking. And they are third in the league right now, absolutely popping off, destroying teams. And they look so good. And Quinn is helping them a lot. And since that, I mean, the Canucks have been atrocious, absolutely abysmal. So, yeah, fantastic move for the Wild to acquire Quinn Hughes. I know a lot of people online say they got fleeced for what they gave up, but I disagree. I think Quinn Hughes is a strong addition to this team for what they paid, and he's kind of proved it, right? I mean, he's looked great like he always does, and he looks comfortable out there with the Wild, and I thought that was a big surprise. I really did not see him being dealt to the Wild of all the teams, and especially like at the time that he was dealt a few weeks back. I mean, just interesting timing, especially with all the chatter about him playing with his brothers. Thought that was very interesting. My second big surprise of the NHL so far this season, Tristan Jarry to the Oilers for Stuart Skinner. Very interesting trade to me. I know a lot of people would argue that is an upgrade, and I don't disagree. But I think if you're the Oilers, you're looking to make a larger splash at the goaltending position. I don't think that Jarry was the answer. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. But I mean, the Oilers have been solid lately. So I could be just eating my words. He also did get injured. But that being said, I thought that was such an interesting trade. Did not see that coming at all. I don't think many people did. But yeah, bizarre. I'm not sure that's exactly the piece I'd go after. But obviously they did need some goaltending help. And if they felt that was the play, so be it. I did think, however, it was surprising because, again, weird timing. And, then the Oilers go over to Pittsburgh and they just light up Skinner. And you got to feel bad for the dude. I mean, that's tough to watch your team just decimate you after being traded. How about teams? Let's look at some of the teams here. Some of the teams that I find in interesting spots right now so far, midway through. I'll start with the ones I'm impressed by. I think the three that I'm impressed by right now, the New York Islanders, 7th in the league and not a team I would have in the top 10 at the beginning of the year. I don't think so at all. And we'll go back and review all of our predictions at the end of the season. But yeah, Isles in 7th, very impressive. I think Schaefer has done a tremendous amount for their defense. Sorokin, obviously, just a unit in goal. But yeah, their whole team stepping up. They have a team that commits. And I think that's one of the biggest high quality things in a hockey team is just commitment. And by commitment, I mean just to winning games in their own way. And a lot of that way for the Islanders is shot blocking and eating pucks to the body and getting in the way of plays, not being afraid to sacrifice yourself and giving 100% on every shift. And I think we've seen that from this Islanders team. They season swept the Lightning. And the Lightning, I would argue, outplayed them in most of those games. But they blocked so many shots. Their defense is just locked down, shut it down. You're not getting through here. And when you do, we got Sorokin back there. And they are just cooking right now, 7th in the league. Very impressive for the Islanders so far. Next on my list, the Flyers in 9th place in the NHL. Another team that I think just kind of everyone's not necessarily sleeping on fully, but I don't know how many people would have them in the top 10 midway through this season. I don't think many. I think there are a lot of teams that people would put ahead of them if they had to make predictions prior to this season, including myself. And the Flyers just continue to prove us all wrong. 9th in the league. They look sharp. They got Michkov still developing over there. And they look a lot better than I think everyone was expecting. How about the Sabres right now? They have won 9 games in a row. That is unbelievable. The Sabres clawing their way back in because they had a struggling start. They were at the bottom like we kind of always see them. But 9 wins in a row. And they now are in 14th in the NHL after this huge win streak that they are still on, by the way. This win streak has not ended quite yet, but they are just clawing their way back in, man. 9 wins in a row is nothing to scoff at. That is a very impressive achievement in the NHL, especially for the Sabres, who are looking to make it to the playoffs, right? I mean, that's their goal right now. And I think the most impressive thing so far, and maybe I should save this one for later, but I'm going to drop it now because I think this is a surprise as well. How about the Colorado Avalanche? 2 regulation losses so far. 2. In like 40 games to have 2 regulation losses, that is shocking. Not only shocking, it's impressive. It fits in both segments of this show, but I'm going to drop it here because holy, 2 regulation losses. And remember, there was a hot take Tuesday where I asked Nick, I said, I said the Colorado Avalanche will end the season with fewer than 10 regulation losses. And I was bought in at the time. And Nick was kind of like, no way, man. Like, there's no way. That's so few They're still at 2 regulation losses. And we're midway through, man. That's crazy. They are just an unbelievable team. If they aren't the cup favorite for whoever, casinos, analysts, man, they're a special team right now, and they should be feared. And let me just throw another quick one at you. Neither of those regulation losses are at home. They have no regulation losses at home, not on home ice this season, and that's just remarkable. My last surprise is a negative one. It's just one quick negative one. It's the Jets. Jets are in last place in the league. That's tough, man. That's not a team I would have in dead last, especially at the midway point. Just not doing so hot right now. And it's crazy. I think they've retained most of what they had, and they have some good games, but wow, last in the league is crazy to me. I'm shocked they are at the bottom of the board right now. I do expect them to not end there, but yeah, definitely crazy, especially, I think Hellebuck has not been playing all the games quite yet, but they dealt Ehlers and kind of kept everyone else. So it's definitely a little shocking. You still got Scheifele over there. You got Velarde and all those guys. So yeah, we'll see what happens with the Jets. But right now, definitely surprising that they are in dead last place in the standings of the NHL. But that's not all, guys. I have so many more things for you to think about. And we're going to move on. We're going to move on to the most impressive NHL stats and achievements, in my eyes, so far. And we'll come back and discuss all those. Welcome back to Locked On Lightning. All right, we've kind of talked about the Bolts and how their midseason review is looking. We've talked about some of the biggest surprises, in my eyes, from the NHL so far. Now let's go into some of the things that I think are very impressive stats and achievements across the NHL. And, I'm just going to re-mention it before we begin. I think the number one thing is 2 regulation losses for the Colorado Avalanche thus far this season. Absolutely impressive. Incredible achievement, incredible statistic. And to see them keep that up is just something remarkable. Truly, we're watching something special in that team this year so far. That being said, how about Connor McDavid? The Oilers kind of had a horrendous start. Let's be real. They did not look so sharp. McDavid and Draisaitl weren't looking, at their top caliber. And McKinnon was kind of sitting at the top of the points leaderboard for weeks. And it didn't look close. It was not close. Let's be real. I mean, McKinnon he was taken off. And now McDavid leads the NHL in points. He just has been dumping in the points in the last few weeks. Guy is a unit. We all know he's the best player in the world. Come on. I mean, is there an argument? I mean, McDavid is the guy. And I think it's absolutely impressive that he has made such a move to the top of the leaderboard with how many points? I think he's at 69 now. Incredible. Again, it's funny because it's like, I'm surprised, but I'm not, because he's Connor McDavid, but definitely impressive, I think, for where he was in comparison to McKinnon a few weeks back. And now way ahead. Crazy. Absolutely incredible effort from Connor McDavid as of late. How about back to the Avalanche? Both Avalanche goaltenders are top 3 in goals against average, and both Colorado Avalanche goaltenders are top 5 in the league in save percentage. And that is awesome. Let me tell you, to have 2 goalies getting it done always, that is scary for every team, especially come playoffs, to have 2 goalies that you can count on, rely on, and they're going to get the job done. Incredible. It really is. That's an impressive stat to have both your goaltenders in top 3 GAA and top 5 save percentage. I don't care what anyone says. Unbelievable. Next, you know what I'm going to say. My favorite player in the league outside of the Lightning, Macklin Celebrini, staying absolutely insane for how old he is. 19-year-old. Carrying the Sharks this year. I mean, he's got Eklund and Will Smith and some of those guys, and they're all looking pretty impressive. But Celebrini, 60 points so far this season. That is unspeakably great. Like, I don't know how anyone could not be blown away by this kid. 19 years old, to be 3rd in the league in points, just behind McDavid and McKinnon, and he's close, man. It's not like he's 10 points behind them. He's like 4 or 5 behind them right now, and he just makes plays every night. And when I say makes plays, obviously I mean on offense, but he is defensive minded too. This kid is something special. I think he's going to be one of the best players probably for the next decade, and I think he's going to be talked about as one of the best of all time at some point. He is just incredible. I hope he stays healthy. I hope he continues the efforts that he's been putting in with the Sharks. And wow, man, he is just an impressive player. I think it's a treat to watch him play hockey. I don't care who he's playing against. I don't care who he's playing for. He is special to watch. And if you get the opportunity to watch the Sharks games this season, keep your eye on Celebrini, because he will do something. And you're going to be like, wow, you know what? He looks really good out there for especially a 19-year-old. All right. How about another sophomore, Lane Hudson, defenseman for the Canadiens, 38 points so far this season. And look, he was impressive last year too, but 38 points as a defenseman still in his sophomore campaign. I got to give him props, man. I mean, he's popping off. Canadians look great. They're just 1 point ahead, the Bolts right now, prior to this Ducks game. But Canadians looking sharp, and I think he is a big part of why. And let's go right from that right into the rookies. How about Demidov? Man, he's helping the Habs out big time, man. 33 points so far this season, having a monster rookie campaign. He is so sharp. He's very offensive minded, and it shows. I mean, every shift you kind of see him out there. He's sneaking his way around there, and he's going to find a way to damage you. And he does. I mean, 33 points again as a kid this young, very remarkable, especially on a team that, I think a lot of people say, I think they make the playoffs this season. And it's really starting to look like they might, I mean, the Canadians are nothing to take lightly right now. And again, Lane Hudson helping them out on D. And now you got Demidov slotting in, and alongside Caulfield and Suzuki and the guys you already know, this team is looking much more complete as of late. And pretty impressive stuff from the Canadians. But Demidov, 33 points again this year so far, and excited to see him continue that moving forward. And another one, we're going to go back to the New York Islanders. How about Schaefer? 25 points as a rookie defenseman. Looking great out there. I think he is an integral part of why the Islanders have found such tremendous success this year. He looks great out there, man. He looks so comfortable, so light on his skates. And I think as time moves on, we're going to see him, hitting the sheet a bunch more. But again, 25 points as a defenseman in your first year, very impressive. I mean, there are guys that have been playing this sport for a long time who don't have 25 points right now. So Schaefer just absolutely popping off. I think he's going to be another one of those guys that we look at in a few years and we say, wow, he's like, is he Cale Makar quality? We're going to find out soon in the next few years, but I think it's very possible. I think it is. And we'll see. I know Nick feels really good about Schaefer. I do too. But yeah, 25 points again, is very impressive on the Islanders. And that's a team that doesn't score a ton of goals. They are much more defensive and tight game minded. So 25 is a very high amount for the team he plays for and for being a young first year guy. Just incredible from him and very impressive. I hope you guys enjoyed my rundown of the NHL's midseason point. I think we've seen a lot of stuff go on so far, and this season is shaping up to be one of my favorite seasons that I've watched in recent years. I think we've seen a lot of surprises, some interesting couple trades, a couple young guys just looking unbelievable, better than I think we've seen in a lot of the young players in the last 5 years, and shaping up to make some parity in the NHL. Yeah. Because, again, like Celebrini carrying the Sharks, they'd be in a whole different world if they didn't have Celebrini. Let's be real. Just very impressive stuff all around the NHL. Midway, it's been a great season so far. I hope everyone had a happy and wonderful holiday. And this is the final episode of 2025. So I am sending you all into 2026 with positive vibes, positive energy. I hope you had a great 2025, and just know that 2026 will be even better. So if you didn't have a great 2025, 2026 is your year. Stay positive, stay grinding, go Bolts, and we'll see you next time on Locked On Lightning.